not here to tell you that you're never going to feel activated again, that you're never going to feel anxious or angry again. You're human. These are human experiences, and you are here to experience them all. Sorry to break it to you. Hi there, and welcome to Why Am I Like This? A 5-part series to help moms understand anxiety when you're tired of carrying everything alone. Today, we're going to be discussing part 2. Do you think you're a bad parent? Rewrite your anxiety story. So we're going to continue my story from part 1. So if you haven't watched that yet, go ahead and stop this and check that out first. It'll just kind of help a little bit. So I'm going to dive right back into that anxiety activation story and shame story that I shared when I snapped at a kid for just spilling water. All right. So after this moment of completely losing my shit and yelling to a small child who just didn't deserve to be yelled at, my body and my mind started to try and make sense of this moment. And that really activated the shame spiral. So replaying the moment that I snapped in my head like this glitching record, right? Just continuously. And my face started to feel hot. My stomach completely dropped. My heart was aching. I couldn't make eye contact with anybody else in the room because of that shame and that guilt. And my brain was just whispering, sometimes yelling, what's wrong with you? Why can't you keep it together? Why can't you be calmer? You should know better than this. And just feeling like I had to completely fix myself. Like there was something deeply broken and wrong with me. And I had to get it done before somebody else would notice too, right? But then also just completely wanting to hide and run away from the entire situation and just, if I'm honest, just not deal with it at all. It really felt as though my brain was just attacking me from the inside. And what happens in those moments is anxiety then distorts the self-perception. All right. It leads us to think that a terrible moment makes for a terrible day, which makes for a terrible week, which makes for a terrible year, which ultimately, when you continue down the spiral means that you're a terrible person, you're a terrible parent, all of those things because you just had this one, bad moment. And when you're dysregulated, the brain is going to interpret these normal moments as proof of failure. And that is when the amygdala is going to partner up with that inner critic and your nervous system gets activated, right? And then the amygdala is going to fire first. And that is when the fight or flight, or if you want to take it a step further, awning will also come into play, which is the people pleasing. So that's going to fire first. So one of those gets activated. And what that's doing is it's going to activate the feelings of fear, this threat, or this danger response. Okay. But the inner critic, which is this prefrontal cortex thought pattern, okay, it's going to jump in right behind it and it's going to try and make sense of the activation by blaming you. Okay. The sequence is, so the body's going to react. Your body is going to tell your brain you're not safe right now. And that's where the heart pounding, the face flushing, maybe the fist clenching, all of those symptoms. And then the mind is going to interpret that. That's where this inner critic comes into play. And that's where you end up on that spiral that leads you to, I'm a bad mom. So the mind tries to assign meaning to the body's fear. And that's why everything feels personal when you're activated. All right. Your brain isn't telling you the truth. It's trying to explain your body's panic. And it's always going to blame you first. So this can come from childhood conditioning a lot of times, that perfectionism, the needing to be good, never seeing that emotional modeling of the rupture and repair of what to do when you're feeling a certain way too. We weren't taught what to do with our emotions, right? We weren't taught what to do when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling angry, when we're feeling shame or guilt, right? We're usually told to just stuff that down. Let's suppress and let's repress that and let's not deal with it now. And so now it's coming up in adulthood. And now you're being activated by your children and by your partner and by things going on in work. So now is the time to start dealing with it, and in part 1, we talked about taking those deep breaths as that starting point, as that foundation, right? What else can you do? Another tool that I really love is the 10-second reframe ritual. So step 1, you're going to stop. You are going to come up with something to help you interrupt the spiral. That can be, tapping your chest. That can be doing something physical. I like to clap. It can be a hand on your heart or your belly, and just take a deep breath. Okay, we're going to press pause. We're going to stop the spiral first. And then I want you to ask yourself, is this my truth? Or am I being emotionally activated? Because this is going to help you separate that fear from fact. All right. And then once you've answered that, I want you to ask yourself, what am I feeling? And where am I feeling it in my body? We have gotten so used to avoiding the feeling. We have gotten so used to disconnecting from our body. So we're going to start with naming it so that we can tame it. And then we're going to bring in body awareness so that we can lower the activation. We're going to figure out, where am I feeling this? Is it in my face? Is it in my hands? Is it in my chest? Is it in my, the pit of my stomach? Is it in my feet and my legs? Figure out where you're feeling it. And then I want you to ask yourself, what do I need right now to support myself and my nervous system? Because this is going to help you move from that self-blame into self-support. And then you're going to take a small supportive action. Do 2 minutes of deep breathing. Step away from the situation. Drink cold water, especially through a straw, to help ground your body. Move your body. Go for a walk. Dance it out. Do some yoga. Do a supportive movement. And then you're going to repair with that loved one, right? Going back to that rupture and repair. That's when you're going to go and you're going to model, the apology. You're going to model, mommy lost her shit. This is what happens afterwards. That is where you work on the repair, and you explain what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're supporting yourself and how you want to do things differently next time, and coming up with that together too. And this ritual can become the nervous system reorientation in, under 10 seconds when you go through all the things. So obviously the repair might take a little bit longer than those 10 seconds, but being able to get your body to a point to do that. And then, being able to move forward. So these calmer moments are going to build that secure attachment with loved ones. Because it's not about being perfect all of the time. It's not even about being calm and peaceful all the time. That's not realistic. And if that's your goal, throw it out the window, because that's not what I'm here to tell you. I'm not here to tell you that you're never going to feel activated again, that you're never going to feel anxious or angry again. You're human. These are human emotions. These are human experiences, and you are here to experience them all. Sorry to break it to you. What you're doing is you're building the self-trust, okay? You're building the self-trust to know what to do when you're activated, when you're having these emotions. And you're then allowing your family and your children to witness. You're modeling for them what to do when you are activated, and you're going to lead by example. So in the next video, we're diving into one of the biggest anxiety activators for moms. Why dinner and bedtime feel like the hardest part of the day. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today. And I just really appreciate your time and energy, because I know how precious that is. And I just feel so honored that you chose to spend some of that with me. Until next time, embrace every moment.